Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now, a whopping 2.7 million people were made redundant in the past 4 years in the UK. So with figures like these and more people out of work than ever, we ask, is anyone really safe in their job? And is it perhaps time to start your own business? Now, maybe this is something you've always dreamt of doing, but for some reason you always hold yourself back. Well, tonight we'll be showing you how others have successfully managed to start and maintain their own business, and they'll be sharing their secrets with you. We have special guest Debbie Georgiou, who'll be telling us all about how she created her own jewellery business and how she's made it the success it is today. And I'll also be talking to Clive Sawyer, who's a leading franchise consultant, and he's going to be telling us all about the franchising world. And also we have back with us Justin Bassini, our resident marketing expert, who'll be offering you some valuable tips on how to start a business of your own. So if you want to get in touch at any point during the show, you can give us a call on 020-7686-6300. You can also email chris@chrissybshow.tv. But let's first start with the beautiful Bianca, who's in the studio with us tonight. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Okay.
So you're going to tell us about some success stories, aren't you? So maybe encourage our viewers as
Yes,
well.
of course. So some of the world's most successful people actually failed at their first attempts at chasing their career dreams. That actually shocked me a little bit as well. Let's start off with Walt Disney. So Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper editor because apparently he lacked imagination and had no good ideas.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. Apparently this was what they said about him anyway, when he was first starting out. And several more of his businesses actually failed before the premiere of his movie Snow White. Now, today, childhoods just wouldn't be the same without Walt Disney, would they? And it just goes to show, that really shocked me because I just thought, who was that person that said that? It was completely wrong.
See, that's so important, but when you believe in yourself, when you believe in a dream, that you should just keep trying.
Yeah.
All right, sometimes it's a bit obvious a person's not very good at a particular thing. Other people can maybe see it, like for example, some singers, they're just tone deaf and they can't sing and they keep trying, like you see these contestants on X Factor. But apart from that, if you know you're good at something and it's just a case of just keeping on trying until you get there, because you will get there if you really believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, I think some people should work out what they're good at and also listen to friends and family on some things that are a bit obvious, but if you know you've got it, then you'll probably do have it, but you never know. Let's move on to said James Dyson. Now, he went through 5,126 failed prototypes for his vacuum.
You have to have a lot of backbone for that.
That is a lot, isn't it? And it wasn't until his 5,127th one that was actually successful and it actually worked. Now, Dyson brand is like one of the most popular Dyson cleaners, in the world. So that's amazing as well. But
you don't
he
think
just
of
kept
the story
going
behind the product, do you? Sometimes.
What do you don't think?
You don't think of the story behind the product. Sometimes what people go through to get something off the ground.
But that's incredible, isn't it? I don't know if I could try something over 5,000 times and keep going.
Well, actually, let me tell people about this young lady here, because she's quite persistent. Because this is what happened. I didn't know her before, and I was doing the show, and then she emailed me one day and said, I really like your show. I'd love to volunteer on the show. And I said, all right then. And I said, I'll pass your details on to the personnel people, right? So she wasn't having it, so she just kept emailing me. and after a while, I used to reply to them. I was quite a good replying to you.
You were.
And after a while, she ended up doing a bit of volunteer work for a sister show that we have. And then slowly she just managed to get into work with us. So that was quite persistent on your part. So what kept you going?
I don't know. I really like the show and I just thought, I'm just going to keep... And I was quite shocked you replied to me because you get some shows you just don't get any response from. So I was quite impressed. I was like, and it's actually Chrissy. I was like, wow. I was really impressed. And then I'm here.
But that's what I liked about her, because she was very persistent. She didn't give up. And even after sort of 6 months of volunteering on another show, and she sort of kept talking to me like, I'd like to do a bit of volunteering.
Come on, giving you the nudge.
She's here, and now she's, on the live shows as well. So that shows persistence, because it's like we didn't say yes straight away. We just said we didn't have any vacancies, but she managed to get in through the volunteer, which is really good.
Yeah, but it wasn't 5,000 times.
No.
I'm probably drying out if it was 5,000 times.
Oh, bless.
Let's move on to Thomas Edison. His teachers told him that he was too stupid to learn anything. Now, Thomas Edison famously invented the light bulb, and it took him 1,000 times before he created the one that actually worked. So again, he kept going, and it was the persistency.
And look how many light bulbs we've got in the studio, baking under here.
Exactly. So that was all up to him. Now let's move on to Oprah Winfrey. She was fired from her television reporting job because they told her she wasn't fit for the television screen. Now, Oprah is famously one of the most popular TV talk show hosts. And she's also a billionaire as well now. So so that was another good one. And now I'm just going to do one final one, which I really like this one. It's J.K. Rowling. Now, she was unemployed, divorced, and raising a daughter on benefits while writing the first Harry Potter novel. So that must have been pretty tough for her. Now, J.K. Rowling is now internationally renowned for her 7-book series of Harry Potter, and she's the first person to become a billionaire from writing as well. So that's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, she's the first person to become a billionaire from writing.
Gosh. See, it's been interesting to know, obviously, from our guests tonight as well, what actually keeps them going, because there are some people, when they hear no, even just the first time they hear no, that's it, they will just give up, and they think, you know, this isn't for me, and they just lose their confidence because of one thing that someone has said to them. So I'd like to know sort of the difference between a person that just keeps going for it and one that will just give up. I'd like to know what that secret is for my guests tonight. It'll be really interesting to find out.
Yeah, it just goes to show as well that, like, people might not believe in you, but as long as you believe in yourself and you know you're doing something good, then there's just no limit to what you can achieve. Because the people I mentioned today, like, they've done absolutely amazing things. They've changed history as well. So and it was all not through. They didn't get it overnight. They didn't wake up and be able to create a light bulb, or, you know, the first light bulb, or be able to make amazing things and make billions of pounds. But just because they kept going, it took thousands and thousands of times. So I know probably we've all been knocked back before, and like things that we've tried to apply for, and it is quite annoying, and it is quite difficult to sometimes get yourself back up on your feet, isn't it, as well? But just think about those people who just kept going, and look what they achieved in the end. Because that time when it actually worked, can you imagine how happy they felt? Yes, thank goodness.
At least I didn't give up, eh?
The relief, yeah.
So we've got some Facebook comments as well, haven't we? And by the way, if you want to post anything on our Facebook page, it's the Chrissy B Show if you do a search. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a comment from Alex. He says, "Hi Chrissy and Bianca. I'm chasing my dream in filmmaking. I've quit my job, just finished my script for my first film, and stopped talking to family members who wanted me to go for something more realistic. But I'm keeping my dreams alive every day, no matter how impossible it may seem. I do what I love because if my dreams are realistic, they're as realistic as I want them to be." And it's coming true for him. That's a really good comment.
That's an important thing that he said there about stopping talking to people, because sometimes that's the mistake a person makes. They have a dream for a business, for example, and someone will say to them, a well-meaning friend, for example, will say something like, "Oh no, I tried that last year, don't even go there," because, you know, but people are different.
That's it, yeah.
It might not have worked for that person, but if the other one's very persistent, they can make it, perhaps. So, you know, it's important sometimes that you get the right advice, but at the same time, if you really believe in something, don't just listen to these negative comments, because it can stop you in your tracks.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's quite difficult to get work in the industry you want to go into. It's not always if it's a good industry and it's something that you really enjoy and you want to be quite high up in the company, you're not going to be able to walk into that job. It's going to take hard work, and it's going to take time and determination. So, you know, if you want to be able to give up on the first hurdle, then you're never going to get there. But by keeping going and just like focusing on what you want to achieve, then you probably will get there. So yeah, so we've got another comment from David, who says, "I want to be a recording artist, and ever since I was 13 years old, soon to turn 22, I've always had a passion for music. I've had people telling me I was rubbish, but I just kept going. There were times I felt like giving up."
Oh, I'll take back what I said then about the people with the bad voices. All right, sorry.
That was to you, Chris.
Yeah. Keep going for your dream.
I'm fighting back. But when you have a passion for something, you'll fight for it till you get it. And today I'm currently touring and performing in places I wouldn't have expected.
There you go, prove me wrong.
Because I kept going, never gave up, and just believe in yourself. So that's another good one. I've got another one here as well. Robin, I'm a dancer and I'm currently pursuing it professionally, as well as training with a company. My goal is to be the best dancer I can be. I love my craft. My dream is to tour with the great artists and to make my company go as far as I can. I'd say if you have a dream, go for it, learn your craft, work and have fun.
Okay, thank you very much. I know we've got some more, but we're going to go to a break very soon. But I'd like to speak to my first guest very shortly. But first of all, let's take a look at this video to introduce her.
I'm Debbie Giorgio, and I was an ex-Olympic rhythmic gymnast. I now design jewellery for many celebrities and celebrity events, so feel quite at home dressing someone for a red carpet. As a gymnast, I was the youngest competitor at the Olympic Games in Barcelona. and had a very difficult training schedule, but loved every single minute of it. Having trained in Moscow, which is pretty hardcore, I know what it takes to compete at a really high level. But these days my passion is not just about gymnastics, it's about all different sports, and I have a huge interest in both football, athletics, swimming, and a wide variety of different sports.
Now, Debbie Giorgio is my name, but the name most people know me by is Jinxie. Now, Jinxie is the name of my jewellery brand that is a fashionista hit with many celebrity clients. If there's a red carpet event, I'm your girl, and it gives me exclusive access to have a good old nose round some celebrity wardrobes.
And we have the lovely lady herself on the sofa in the studio. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Chrissy, how are you?
I'm very well. So lovely to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So tell us a bit about your background, first of all, because you haven't, as we saw from the video, you haven't always done jewellery making and stuff. So what were you doing before?
It's kind of a strange background, actually, because my initial starting was sporting related. So
Right.
I was a rhythmic gymnast. So I had a very kind of strange childhood where I jetted off all around the world and competed in different countries.
That must have been exciting.
It was,
Yeah.
but do you know what? When I look back on it, I was too young. I was only 16 when I was kind of at these amazing places, and I kind of wish I could do it now, you know,
Really?
and sort of be old enough to really experience it. But yeah, it was a different kind of upbringing, definitely.
Okay. And then what happened after the gymnastics? Did something happen with that?
Yeah, I mean, after the gymnastics, because I mean, obviously with gymnastics, it's a very short career. So by the time you're sort of 18, you're ready to retire. You know, you're kind of like old and past it. So yeah, I know
Sounds awful,
it
doesn't
does.
it?
It's like I've
18.
retired at 18, but you know, you reach your peak at sort of 16, 17. So at 18, you're pretty over the hill for gymnastics. So you know, you've got to try and find your next niche in life. It's almost like your second wind, really.
Were you quite disappointed that that came to an end, or were you sort of ready for the future?
Do you know what? I think I was probably ready. I think because I'd had such a focused and disciplined lifestyle that didn't allow me to do a lot of the things that people my age were kind of, you know, the normal sort of teenage things that you do and what have you. I think you get to the point where you're like, do you know what? I just want to have some fun. I just want to be like a normal teenage girl and do, because my life was so disciplined in such a way. But I mean, I wouldn't change it for anything, because obviously the experiences that I gained from it were fantastic, but it was the right point to start to lead a normal life, so to speak, for me.
Well, we're going to talk about your kind of normal life.
Kind of normal life.
After the break.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in touch, don't forget you can call on 020 7686 6300. Stay tuned, because we're going to be talking a lot more to Debbie after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, so let's continue talking to Debbie Giorgio, who's the founder of Jinxie Jewellery. Tell us all about it, Debbie, because it's been quite a hit, hasn't it? How did it all start?
Do you know what, Chrissy? Honestly, when I think about where it started from and like to where it is now, I can't believe it myself, actually, because it literally started off as a little bit of a hobby. Because obviously I've got two daughters, and I kind of, because of my past of being a gymnast and everything, I'd always kind of itched to sort of do. I was never a kind of couldn't do anything. I needed to be sort of active and busy, and I kind of. I dabbled in cake making and flowers and this, and I even painted some pictures and thought I was going to be an artist, and it was such a simple concept.
You always had that creative streak then, in a
I think
sense.
I must have, but I didn't know that I did. And then literally one day I dropped the children off at school and I was in the supermarket and I'm buying my magazines, as you do, you know, your sort of glossies, and I saw a magazine that was kind of like featured and it said like making jewellery. And I don't know why, I put it in my trolley. I honestly don't know why. I got home.
It was a sign.
It was a real sign. And the thing was, I got home and I was sort of flicking through it, like eating my breakfast cereal, but not understanding any of it. And I sort of had this urge to learn what, you know, like what these things were and how to create. And so it was almost kind of, it was like a sign that it came to me in a way, is how I see it.
And how did things progress after that? So you bought that first magazine. How did you get into it?
Well, I sort of, like I said, I was almost frustrated because I was kind of reading the magazine and not understanding any of it. And I kind of just booked on to like a local jewellery making course. Okay. Yeah, and I went along with a really good friend of mine, and we just had such a great day. And I knew when I was doing it that, I don't know, it was like, I was doing it, it was like I'd always wanted to do it. And I guess I've always been a girly girl, so I like blingy, shiny things. So I was just like...
By the way, do you like some blingy, shiny things that I'm wearing?
Yeah, so for me to actually be able to be like let loose with a bunch of like diamonds and, you know, I was just like, oh, I didn't know what to do. But yeah, no, it was a natural progression, definitely.
So where did it sort of go from being just a hobby to then becoming a business for you? Very successful business for you.
Yeah, you know what? It's so I kind of made a few pieces, and I would wear them out and about. So I'd be picking up my kids, or I'd be, you know, in Tesco's and you're paying or something, and someone would comment and say, I really like that bracelet, where did you get it from? And I'd be like, I made it. And you kind of, when that happens quite a lot, you sort of start to think, do you know what, actually, maybe if I made these, people might like them. And it kind of spiraled from, I did all the kind of my children's school fairs and things like that at school, which were great. And I'd rock up with a boot full of, like, you know, and I'd set my little stall out, and it went so well.
The stuff is gorgeous though.
Thank you so much.
I love them.
You know what, I've always just sort of said that I would create things that I like. And in the beginning, I'd be making all of this stuff, and my friends and family would be like, what are you doing? Who are you making this all for? And to be honest, I didn't care if nobody else liked it or nobody else bought it, because I could wear it, so it was fine.
But plenty to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay. And what about people maybe that say, look, I don't really have time. I'd love to do something like this, but I don't really have time to do these things, especially maybe mums at home looking after kids. What would you say to them?
Do you know what? For me, that was a mega factor in it as well, because I had always strived and looked for something, because I know, like, as mums at home, it's difficult. You've still got all of your responsibilities. So I think if you've got a hobby or some sort of creative talent in that way, then if you keep it as a hobby and you fit it in around when you can, so in your downtime. I mean, sometimes my kids will say, come on, Mum, let's watch a film. And I'll sit there with beads on my knee, and they'll be like, what are you doing? But I'm doing it because I find it relaxing. That's kind of how I unwind as well. So, you know, I think if you can find the time, it's just managing it around everything else that you have to do.
Yeah. Because I know sometimes when mums are at home for a while, maybe they were working before and they had to leave that job to look after the kids, say. And I know sometimes they feel very sort of low about themselves and start to think, oh, you know, I've been out of work. They think I've been out of work for a while, even though they're working pretty hard at home, I would say. And they start to lose their confidence because they think, oh, I'd love to be doing something.
Yeah, I think that's almost like, it's such a misconception as well. Like, you know, it's kind of like that guilt thing with women as well, because, I mean, staying home and looking after kids is possibly the hardest job.
I know,
that there is. I mean, it doesn't get any harder
on.
than that. And I've got to be honest, for me, my almost biggest achievement in this is when I get emails from women who say, I feel so inspired to do something. And I just think, you know, that is so touching to me, because I've been there. I've been in that position where you feel that you can't do, you know, you feel that you need, you know, it's a daunting step to obviously set up a business and take that initiative and put that investment in and everything, but it can be done. It really can. And just something small, a small idea that can spiral, and you know,
the courage to see it through, right?
The courage to see it through.
I don't know, I don't want to try it. What if it fails? Or what if it doesn't fail?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Or, you know, if you look at upon it like that I don't have anything to lose if if it does fail. So you've literally got to throw yourself into it and not give up, because I mean, I have had some such demoralising things that I've been to, like certain fairs. I mean, I remember once I went to one in Hampstead and I had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd set it all out and nobody came, and then I got snowed in, and it was, I couldn't get home and my kids were crying, and so, and then I look at, you know, the transition, and like Bianca was saying, you look at Mr. Dyson and how many prototypes we went through. You've got to keep going. Just keep going,
Okay. And tell us, how's the business been developing now? Because you've got quite a few celebs that love your stuff, right?
I know. Tell us about that. Do you know what? It's really weird actually, because in the beginning, like I'd see it like on TV or in magazines, and it would be like, I made that. That's mine, and you'd feel really happy.
I really love it. She's so down to earth, you know. Just no,
it was.
It hasn't like, got to your head. You're so nice.
Oh, it was so exciting. I remember, like, you know, I'd be like freezing the sky, like on the TV, and like snapshotting it on my phone. I was like, I made that, and it was quite funny actually, because sometimes my daughters would help me, and my daughter would go, "No, Mum, I made that as well." So no, it's really good. I've met some amazing people. You know, who I like to call friends now as well, like, you know, which is lovely, and it's really, you know, it's just beyond all my expectations of how it, you know, what would have happened really. I'm just very grateful.
What advice would you give to people that are thinking of starting something up, but they're a little bit, I don't know? Do
you know what? Honestly, I mean, the way things are today, I mean, social media has played a huge part, you know, especially Twitter. Yeah. You can reach out to so many people. Yeah. And, you know, I just think that it's all there. You know, there are so many success stories. I know so many strong women that I've met through Twitter that have had a small idea and taken it to huge levels. You know, and this is mums at home, you know, who've done it as a hobby. And I just think it's almost like this sisterhood of women who have gone, you know what, I've got an idea and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to work as hard as I can and make a success of it.
And talking of running, you're doing something very interesting next week, aren't you?
I'm doing something really crazy next week.
Tell us about that.
I am running the London Marathon.
Oh, wow.
I know. For Genes for Genes, which is a charity for kids with genetic disorders. I've done some work with them in the past. Fantastic charity. And last year I did like a limited edition bracelet for them, and they kind of caught me off guard and said, "Do you want to do the London Marathon?" And I was like, "Yeah, go on." And now it's next week.
So, have you been training for it? Are you ready?
Do you know what? I'm really gutted, because I was training really like intense, like on it. And I got injured. I did a half marathon, injured because gymnasts were not meant to run. That's official. Yeah. We're not meant to run. So I got slightly injured. So I've had to cut back. But now I just want to do it. I just want to finish it. You know, I don't care, even if people in fruit costumes ask me. I honestly don't care. I just want to finish it now. Just get me to the finish line. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you're going to do really well.
I hope
Best
so.
of luck with that.
Thank you so much.
You're going to stay with us, because we would like your input into the other stuff that we're going to talk about today. But thank you so much. I think it's great what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I love the fact that you're inspiring so many women as well. That's wonderful.
Just go for it. It's, you know, you can do it. Really, you can.
Okay. Well, after the break, we're going to be joined by Clive Sawyer, who's going to be telling us all about franchising. So maybe you're a bit nervous about going it completely alone, but he's going to be giving some advice based on that. And it's going to be really, really beneficial for our viewers. And if you want to get in touch at any point to ask a question, you're a bit quiet tonight, what's going on? You can call us on 020 7686 6300, and you can also email Chris at chrissybshow.tv. So join us after this break.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and now we're going to speak to our franchising expert, Clive Sawyer. Clive, welcome to the show.
Hello, Chrissy, thank you.
Now, I have to admit, I did say to you before, I know nothing about franchising.
That's fine.
So, first of all, tell us a bit about your background, first of all, before we get to the franchising.
Very varied. I originally trained as a sports and maths teacher.
Oh.
Didn't go into teaching, but set up and ran health clubs.
Okay.
Then moved into the city and became a Eurobond dealer, then worked for NatWest in their corporate head office, and then thought, I want to do something myself. So I left and set up my own restaurant.
Oh.
Did that.
What kind of food? I'm always interested in food.
Mediterranean.
Oh,
so
nice.
French, Italian and Spanish.
Oh, lovely.
Did it for 3.5 years. The hardest thing I've ever done.
Can you imagine?
I think I had 2 days off in 3.5 years, lived above the restaurant.
Oh, no.
Had always wanted, when I started off the restaurant, to franchise it, because I knew a bit about franchising, but got made an offer to buy out the restaurant on its own, so I did that. And then with the varied background that I had, became a government business advisor, helping small businesses.
Yeah.
And the type of person I am, after 3 years, I decided I had enough of that. I wanted to do it myself. So set up my own franchise and business expansion consultancy.
Now, what is franchising?
Well, franchising, it's a term that's used a lot and in for different things. So people may have heard of franchising as being getting the right to vote. That's a franchise. You've heard of the train operators. They get the Southwest franchise to operate. You've got the franchise for the Hollywood blockbuster movies and the merchandise. This, when we talk about franchising, is a way of expanding a business, and it allows other people to operate under your brand using a proven method. So it's a business expansion method.
Is it a safer way of doing business, would you say?
Absolutely. All the evidence shows. The latest NatWest franchise survey showed that 91% of all franchisees are profitable. Now you start comparing that against the success rate of independent startups, which is less than 50%. So you can see why it's really attractive for people to come into franchising. And obviously, you can set up your own business from scratch, and that's very good for certain people, but other people actually want more of a comfort zone to have that opportunity to run their own business, but with the support of somebody else.
Right, okay, Clive, I've just got a call. Let's just see if it's about franchising now. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi.
Oh, it's two of you. Hi.
Hi.
Did you have a question?
Yes, we are Debbie Giorgio's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh. Hijacked.
Hijacked.
So what did you have to say?
We'd just like to say we're really enjoying the show right now, and my mum's been really good, so yeah, big shout out.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really nice. You've embarrassed her now.
It's their adopted daughter, Santina, and Debbie's an inspiration to all of us.
Are you proud of her?
Oh.
Yeah, we're very proud.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thanks so much for calling.
You're welcome.
See you.
Love the show.
Oh, that's so cute. How old are they? 15.
Oh, lovely. Okay, sorry, Clive.
So I'm just waiting.
A franchising question. But
Well, I'm waiting for my children to phone now. So
Clive's children, if you're watching, make sure you call so it doesn't feel left out, okay? All right. Yeah, so tell us more about the franchising.
yes, so basically franchising is a way of people, first of all, business owners, to expand their business without having to have it with their own staff. So there's a lot of people who think, I'm doing really well in my own business at the moment, maybe in a small catchment area. They're getting lots of interest across the country, but it's not cost effective for them to service it themselves. So instead of actually expanding a business themselves with their own staff, which is one of the most common ways of expanding, this allows them to do it with other people. And the advantage is the franchisees, the people who are going to be running it, they're their own business owners. So they've paid money, they're motivated, they, even when they're not feeling very well, they'll get up in the morning and do the work because it's their business and they reap the rewards from it.
Why do you think maybe some people are a bit reluctant to go down that route? Do you think they're sort of losing some control in a sense?
Yes, for certain businesses, it's not. Franchising isn't right for everyone. It's not the right method for a lot of businesses, and it's not the right method to go into business for other individuals. But for certain people, especially franchisees who are looking for something where they can benefit from all their hard work, but would never have the confidence to set up a business on their own, wouldn't know where to start. The benefit of being able to trade under somebody's existing brand and know all their proven profitable operating methods is very attractive. So to become a McDonald's franchisee, it means that you're going to have customers on your doorstep on day one.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So it's a great way of getting in for certain people. However, what it does mean is you have very little flexibility as a franchisee because you have to follow the exact methods of the franchisor. Right. So somebody like myself, I can give a lot of advice about franchising, but I couldn't be a franchisee myself because I like every morning I wake up thinking, actually, I can do something different.
So maybe from the more creative type,
Creative people,
like Debbie, for example, she would
entrepreneurs.
feel like her wings would be a bit clipped.
Oh, absolutely. It's not.
Yeah, because there's a method that you have to follow then, obviously, isn't it? You're not. It's not your idea, is it? You're following it, which I can see for some people it is. It's like a security blanket, isn't it? Because you say, McDonald's, yes, you've got guaranteed customers. Obviously, if you're doing something completely on you know, that's new and it's on your own, then you know it is scary. So I can totally see.
But the benefit of going, why would you want to pay money to follow somebody's proven model and then do something different? Doesn't seem to make sense. And interestingly, women, I think, on the whole, make better franchisees than men.
Really?
Because women have this view that if I'm paying money to follow a proven business model, then that's what I will do. For some strange reason, a lot of men think, I'll pay money to follow a business model, but then I'll know better and I want to change it. So actually having somebody who's very content just to follow that model and make the money that the franchisor says you'll make actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And you've actually written a book specifically for women that want to go into franchising. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I wrote this, co-authored it with Muriel Maupin, who is one of the leading business and entrepreneurial coaches, really targeting women to say, this is a way of getting into business, but be aware of what you're letting yourself in for. So I've talked about the technical sides of buying into a franchise, and Muriel talks about some of the softer sides and making sure it suits that individual.
Yeah. And it's called, so buying
the Essential Women's Guide to Buying a Franchise. Okay.
How do you actually get into it in the first place, just before we go to a break?
Into buying a franchise? You can go to a franchise exhibition and see what's out there. There's lots of people who've dreamt of owning their own business, and there are publications, there's websites out there. There's quite a lot of media promoting franchise. So the first thing is to go out there and say, what do I like doing? Because most franchises in the UK are for 5 years with the option to renew for another 5 years. If you're going to be in business for 10 years, you want to make sure that it's something that you enjoy. Every morning you get up and you think, I enjoy doing this. So that's always the first point to think, to start at. Think, what do I enjoy doing? What would I like to have a business in? And then find somebody who's actually got a proven business model behind it. And then follow from their success.
Okay, and what top tips would you give to our viewers, for example, that are thinking about it and they want to take it a step further?
I think the most important thing is check whether or not the income projections that the franchisor says you're going to make actually meets your lifestyle. Because there's nothing worse than ending up running a business and you don't make the money that you're actually looking to do. Also make sure that you check that the projections are actually achievable. And the best way of that is contact existing franchisees in the network. Don't rely on a glossy brochure that may say some wonderful things on it. Actually speak to existing franchisees and you'll be surprised how open they are to say, actually this is achievable, or actually don't believe this, you're only going to make half of what they said.
So what is the reality then for people that are in?
The reality is it's very dependent on the type of business that you go into. There's some really good established franchise businesses. There's nearly 1,500 franchises across the country at the moment, from everything from retail operations, estate agencies, swimming franchises, cost reduction franchises, health and fitness. Lots of things out there, but in any industry there's good and bad. And the one way that you have a chance of being able to check whether or not it's a better franchise is there's something called the British Franchise Association, which is the industry's self-regulating body, and that accredits franchises, and you have to go through an accreditation process. So at least if you buy a BFA accredited franchise, you know that somebody independently has checked it's been set up correctly. Right,
okay. Well, thank you so much for all the advice. Debbie, thank you as well for all the lovely advice that you've given to the ladies tonight as well, and I wish you all the best with everything you're both doing. And if you do want more information about our guests tonight, do visit the website, because there's a section there with all the previous guests that we've had, and that's chrissybshow.tv. We are going to go to a break now, and after that we're going to be joined by Justin Bassini, marketing expert, who's going to be imparting his wisdom with us once again. So thank you very much, and we'll see you after the break.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back, and now we're joined by Justin Bassini, our resident marketing expert. Hello, Justin.
Hello.
How are you?
Great to be here. I'm very well. Yeah, it is quite a long time. I'm really, really inspired today by all the stories we've had of businesses.
Great, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. And I think that's the thing, you know, getting out there and doing it. As you said at the start of the show, you know, with millions and millions of people out of work, you know, creating new businesses is what we need the economy to do. That's what we
Yeah.
need people to do in order to get us to grow. And actually, I think
you've been through that yourself, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Yeah,
Was it
I run my
scary?
own business. It was very scary, actually. You know, initially to go out of a job. You know, I left a job to set up my own business. So, you know,
Which I think is even braver, because you actually, because some people don't have a choice. They've just lost a job.
Yeah.
They've been made redundant, and then they're sort of kind of forced maybe to
Yeah.
do something to
Yeah.
some extent. But you just were brave enough to kind of say, okay, I want to do this now. I want to do something completely different.
Yeah, and it was quite a difficult conversation with my wife, you know, sort of, you know, we're going to leave the security of a paycheck every month and we're actually going to go our own way. But ultimately, it's fantastic for the family. You know, I work very hard, and entrepreneurs, I think that's the thing we've heard, you know, they work very hard. You need discipline, you need to be self-driven, but it actually allows you some flexibility as well. You don't really have a boss shouting at you every day to go in.
Which must be lovely, right?
Which is lovely. It really is lovely. You know, I reached the stage where I was just, you know, quite bored with having bosses. So I thought, well, I'll be my own boss and give it a go.
Good for you.
And so, yeah, it's been a great decision. And I think the thing with businesses is, even though they sound quite scary, I think what Clive said to us, and I think overall my opinion is, actually it's a quite common sense. A lot of businesses, you know, the basics of business is quite easy. And I think the thing that people need to realise is that actually you can do some simple things just to test your ideas, to test things, in order to make sure that you have the first thing, which is all great businesses. The thing that we've learnt tonight, I think, what Debbie's business shows and what Clive was talking about, all these great franchises, is they have a great customer need at the heart.
Right.
You know, are people going to buy those fantastic pieces of jewellery that Debbie make, right? Is there that need? And what I loved about Debbie's story was the fact that she was almost doing consumer research, customer research that costs, you know, big companies spend thousands and thousands of
Without
pounds.
realising it.
Yeah, on customer, and she wasn't, without realising it, right? When I set my business up.
See, woman's brain's really smart.
That's exactly right. You know, at the Tesco, oh, that's nice, I like that. Oh, yeah, maybe they'll buy it, actually. And when I set my business up, we spent a lot of time in coffee shops. And I'd go into a coffee shop and I'd say to the person, oh, I'll buy you that cup of coffee if you just give me 5 minutes. Let me show you my website, let me show you my product, give me some feedback. And actually, you don't need to spend thousands and thousands of pounds to see whether there is a need in the market. And every great business has a need in the market. And if you can find that need, and it can be on a local area basis, so it doesn't need to be a new need. You know, we heard Bianca was talking about Thomas Edison and Dyson. You know,
It doesn't have to be an invention, does it?
It doesn't have to be an invention. It can be jewellery. You know people are going to buy jewellery. If it's good jewellery and you like it and there's not too much competition around where you live, then you've got a good chance of filling that need. And that's the second point, really, which is you need to think about your product and your service and whether that meets the need, okay? So once you've found this customer need, then your next question is, okay, can I create a product, a really great product that I love creating and I love working in? That's the other thing that we heard, right, is you're going to be doing it for a long time. You know, everybody thinks that they're going to set a business up and in 2 years' time they're going to be a millionaire, Rodney. You know, next year we're going to be millionaires, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time.
You do really have to love what you do, because I know there's people that will just start a business just for the sake of starting one, because maybe, like you said, they don't like being shouted at by their boss, but that's not enough. You need to have a passion for what you want to do, because there are going to be those hard times when things are going to be, oh my God, everything's going wrong, and the only way that's the only thing that's going to keep you going is your passion, your dream that you have at the end of it.
Yeah, that's right. And nobody will buy your product unless you really believe in it.
Yeah.
You know, Thomas Edison didn't turn up and go, well, you know, the light bulb, I've tried 1,000 times, it's sort of okay. You know, he was like, this is going to be fantastic. This is going to revolutionise the world. And you've got to believe in it, because unless you believe in it, nobody else will believe in it. And so you've got to enjoy it, and you've got to be able to create something which is good. You know, good products sell more, right? So, and the thing with franchises and whatever is you've got to make sure that that product is a really good product that you like and is going to excite you for the long term. Or it can be a service. It doesn't have to be a product. It can be a service. You can go out and do things. You can sell your time. You know, there are lots of different ways of making money, as long as you can find that need. And that need is all about saying, what will people pay for? Very simple, actually. What do I think I can make? or what service do I think I can provide that people will pay for? And then the third point, and this is the basics of business, and it came up in both Debbie and Clive's sections as well, which is the cost of your product, plus the cost of your marketing, so how you're going to get it out there, and the cost of your time, because that's the thing that a lot of people forget. They think, oh, well, how much does my product cost? And how much does my marketing cost? But I'm not really going to factor in actually the fact that I'm spending hours and hours in front of the TV, you know, or working all the time. You know, you've got to make a salary out of this as well. You've got to make some money out of it. So do those three things added together mean that you can sell it for more than that? And if you can sell it for more than that,
then it's worth doing it. There we go.
Then you've got a business, right? That's your third point. So it's the cost of your product plus the marketing plus your time less than the sale price. Because if that's right, then you can start to actually create a business over it. If it's more than that, then every time you sell a product, what are you doing? You're losing money.
Gosh. Which is not good.
Which is not a good way of creating a business. And that's the thing with franchising. If some of this stuff actually is you find it a bit confusing and you're not quite sure of it, the great thing about franchises is that that's all laid out for you. You sort of know that the product and the marketing, and if you follow that system, it's going to make you money. Now, you still need to be able to sell it. You still need to work very, very hard to make it happen, but the system is there. So that's the third point. And then the fourth point, which is once you've worked all that out, and really it's common sense, anybody can do it, and I would say have a go. All of us have ideas, right?
Yeah.
All of us have those things of, oh, I think that might be an idea or that. Have a go, start talking to friends about it, start talking to your family about it. At that Tesco checkout, what do you think of that? What do you think of this? Oh, I made this, you know. You can do that all the time. So try and work on your ideas.
Hopefully no one will steal your idea when you're going around doing that.
Yeah, but
unless you painted it first.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that everybody says that. They go, oh, they'll steal your ideas. But businesses are all about doing it. All of us can have ideas about all that great jewellery, but Debbie's actually gone and done it.
Yeah.
She's created a business out of it. And that's where the value is the actual doing of it. And then the last point is how are you going to market? How are you going to get your brand out there? And that really is the most amazing thing over the last 10 years, because that has changed so completely with the rise of the internet. And so Twitter and Facebook and websites, they are so much easier to market your product through than ever before. It used to be that you had to spend money on advertising and little cards in the post office window and all that sort of stuff that we used to do, right? Yeah. Maybe putting flyers through doors. Now you can get a website up in literally minutes, literally minutes. And I've got a great example. So my middle son, 6 years old, and he's quite artistic. Yeah. And he drew a couple of cards at Christmas, you know, Christmas cards for the family. And various family members said, oh, they're quite nice. And actually, more than family members said, oh, they're quite nice. So it wasn't just Granny and Mummy and Daddy saying, oh, just you're so nice. Brilliant. You know, they actually said, that's really, really good. And so what he said was, he said, oh, well, why don't I set up a business about it? Maybe he's got some entrepreneurial genes from me or whatever. But he said, what can we set up a business? And so over the last month, because I knew I was coming on, I thought to myself, well, I'll have a go at trying to get Dan's business, that my middle son's called Dan, up and running for no money. Okay? Wow. And we've set up a website called cardsbydan.co.uk, and you can buy, my 6-year-old son, you can buy his cards online now, and sweet. It has cost us nothing. Wow. Nothing to set up. Because what we found was we found various sites, one site called Moonfruit, where you can set up your own website for nothing, and you can upload all your images, and you can do all this. And last week, he had his first order.
Oh, bless!
He had his first order. He must have been
so excited. Yeah, it wasn't Granny or Grandad, was it?
I don't know. I hope not. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. But you know, well, that just proves that even a 6-year-old can set up a business nowadays. Yeah. And what we're going to do now is he said to me, he sat me down and he said, but Daddy, so how will they know? How will they know about how to get to my website? And I was like, oh, well, how do we think?
Apart from just talking about it on the show.
Well, that's one other thing. But he said, but I said, well, what about Facebook or what about Twitter? And of course, for a 6-year-old, he's like, oh yeah, you know, he understands all that sort of stuff. So it's really, what I would say is, it's not that hard to set up some of these businesses. And what you can do is, if you just think through those processes, you can start to identify what those needs are, what's going to make you excited every day, product, service that you really think that you can make money from. You do a little bit of work thinking about the business model, that's that middle bit, okay? Which again, if you're a bit unsure about that, lots of books out there, lots of research on the internet that you can use to help you. And then you can start to put stuff together really, really cheaply and just test it and see what happens. And you never know, you might be the next Dyson. You might be the next Thomas Edison.
That is so inspiring, Justin.
Pleasure.
That's really great.
I just
great
want
advice.
people to get on with it, you know?
Now, I know sort of maybe setting up a business isn't actually for everyone, because I think you have to be a certain type of person, because there are people, let's face it, they like a 9-to-5 job where they are told what to do basically, and they love that. It's like they don't have to think much, but for others it's not. They want to do something different, they're creative, they've got ideas, they're driven. So I think you do have to be a certain type of person. But as we've heard, you know, things don't always go smoothly, things do go wrong, and you really do have to be passionate about what you do. But I think, you know, if you really want to do it, anyone can do it. And yes, okay, you may fail at first, but then I think, you know, just keep going for it, and I'm sure you'll be successful. And there's lots of people that help out, that can help you. There's organisations you can go to. So, you know, make sure you find out everything you need to find out and just go for it, because I believe in you. You believe in them too, Justin.
I believe in them. Yeah, absolutely. We need a nation of entrepreneurs, so you can get out and you can get on with it.
All right. Thank you very much. We have run out of time.
Pleasure.
We'll see you again next time.
Brilliant.
Yeah? Okay then, so that's it for today. Thank you all for watching. And if you want more information about our guests tonight and anything else, you can visit the website chrissybshow.tv. We'll see you again on Friday. Bye for now.
We're laughing at someone else's demise. That's disgraceful.
I got it all on tape. That was so cute.
That is TV gold. Fab.
Hi everyone, today so we're about an hour and 15 minutes away from London at the beach, and this is one of the most favourite shut up